Hi, I'm Dr. Therese with Healthy Choice Family Chiropractic, and thank you for joining us for our Eat This Instead of That workshop. So, you may wonder, why are we even talking about this? Why are we talking about not eating certain foods and eating others instead? Well, the reason is inflammation. It's all about inflammation. There are certain foods that increase your internal inflammation, and as a result, can decrease your health. So, what is inflammation? I mean, a lot of people will think of inflammation as in something's swollen, right? Well, overall, inflammation is the body's immune response to a stimulus. That can be in response to common injuries like burning your finger or falling off your bike, after which the affected area will become red, warm, swollen, puffy. This is a localized response to an injury characterized by increased blood flow and an overall immune response. So it means that your immune system is fighting against something that can turn out to be harmful. But inflammation can also be caused by what we eat. That can cause more of internal inflammation and chronic inflammation. Inflammatory foods tend to cause more chronic low-level inflammation. And most chronic diseases are thought to be rooted in low-grade inflammation that persists over time. This inflammation may go unnoticed by the individual until overt pathologies arise or some type of issue or condition, which can include but is not limited to diabetes, cardiovascular disease, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, obesity, arthritis, autoimmune disorders, inflammatory bowel disease, and even clinical depression, to name a few. Inflammation is a common underlying factor in a lot of chronic diseases and becomes an overriding factor when it comes to our health. So, what are some foods that can cause inflammation? Like, what should we be looking at and what should we be working on avoiding? Well, a few of those common foods are sugar, gluten, dairy, canola and vegetable oils, food colorings, and these are a lot of the foods that we eat or that we add to the foods during our holiday season. So we want to give you some alternatives so that you can have a healthier holidays overall and not feel like you're depriving yourself of some of the things that you love. Okay, first being sugar, because I will admit it, I am a sugaraholic. But sugar is bad for you, right? We all know that, but we love it, especially during the holiday season. So here on the side is just some substitutions that you can use instead of sugar, right? There's a lot that are on there, so you can definitely look through. It goes, this table that we have goes like what you would replace normal sugar with, how much, how it'll affect what you're making, and also if you need to end up increasing or decreasing any liquids that you would use in that recipe also. So my favorite sugar substitute though, or I should say refined like white sugar substitute, is coconut sugar. Coconut sugar is a great substitute for regular cane sugar or regular white processed sugar. You can be used in a 1-to-1 ratio. So if your recipe calls for 1 cup of regular white sugar or brown sugar, you would just substitute it with 1 cup of coconut sugar. The great thing about coconut sugar is it does not spike your blood sugar like regular sugar will, because it does have a lower glycemic index. So it's not as processed or refined. And it does contain some minerals in it, including iron, zinc, calcium, and potassium. So it has other positive things in it too. I like to use this overall, like I said, in my baking. Also, I'll use it in some savory food recipes, like if I want to add some sweetness to like my sweet potato casserole. I love adding coconut sugar instead of regular sugar. Okay. Also, dairy. Dairy is hard for a lot of us to break down because when we're talking dairy, I guess I'm talking about like cow's dairy or cow's milk. Our body does not contain the enzymes to be able to break down the milk protein and milk sugars in cow's milk. For example, the protein in cow's milk is 7 times larger than in human milk, and our body is designed to break down human milk, not cow's milk. So since we don't have the enzymes to be able to break down that larger of protein, as a result, it creates an overall inflammatory response in our body. Some common dairy substitutes are you can use almond milk and coconut milk. Also, there's some new ones that have come out like macadamia nut milk and oat milk, especially if you are someone who's more sensitive to nuts. Those are great alternatives too. Almond milk contains less calories, but it can still be thick and creamy. Also, coconut milk is creamy and it's a little bit sweeter. Also, it tends to be higher in vitamin D and B12 than some of the other milk alternatives. Also, you can even make your own milk. On the side is just a recipe of how to make your own almond milk. You can do that right at home so that you can have fresh almond milk anytime that you would like it and don't have to worry about being able to find it and find it and purchase it in the store. Okay. Another thing that we tend to use a lot of in the holidays is vegetable or canola oil. Vegetable and canola oil is more dangerous to body tissues and can also trigger inflammation. This is a known risk factor for making blood vessel plaques unstable or creating issues with that and can cause issues with your heart. Some healthier oil alternatives are coconut oil, extra virgin olive oil, or avocado oil. Coconut oil is great for cooking foods that you're going to be heating. So like sauteing vegetables or cooking your meat. But sometimes this can have a coconutty flavor to it, especially if you're using the unrefined. If you're using refined coconut oil, that won't have that coconut flavor. Also extra virgin olive oil, that's great to use in dressings. That's one way that I will use it. Or I'll be honest, my favorite is avocado oil. This you'll use as a 1-to-1 ratio in your baking. Also, it has very mild to no flavor, just like vegetable canola and canola oil, so I feel like it's a great alternative for that. You can also find it in a spray form, and that can reduce the sticking to your pans instead of using like a pan spray. So I like using that instead. Also, coconut oil, avocado oil, those are all going to have really brain healthy fats in them. So it's also great for your overall brain health. Okay. Next is food dye, especially during the holidays. People love to color their desserts or other things red and green so they can be more festive, but food colorings can also have a lot of negative effects on your health. For example, yellow 5 and yellow 6 and red 40 are known to pose risks, including hyperactivity in children. It can also pose a risk of increasing cancer, and for example, red 3 can do that, and cause overall allergic reactions. Most countries even require food that contain food dyes to have warnings on them because of the link that it has to ADD, ADHD, and cancer. So what can we use instead? Well, you can make or purchase food dyes made from fruits and vegetables that can add additional flavor and color, or just color, to your foods and not have that artificial flavor or a negative impact on your health. Below or on the screen are just a couple of brands that you can use. You can really find those on Amazon, or to the right of your screen is just some different ways that you can actually be able to make your own food coloring and own food dye at home. And this is a great thing to do with your kids and just to show them there is alternatives. Plus, it just makes things more fun because now they're not only coloring their things, but they're making the coloring themselves. Okay, a couple other things that tend to be used during the holiday, and most of the times, is condiments, right? Condiments, they're used a lot, and they can also be a big source of added calories and added sugar to our diet. So we're going to go over just some few easy recipes that you can do to make your own and make it healthier. So some ones that we are going to go over to start is a ranch dressing. So instead of using like a Hidden Valley ranch that has high fructose corn syrup and a lot more preservatives and additives, you can try this instead. Sir Kensington's, that's just another brand that you can use. It's made from avocado oil, and it doesn't have the high fructose corn syrup, and it doesn't have the higher levels of sugar, just to have a healthier alternative overall. Or one thing that I like to do is make my own ranch dressing. I the recipe that I found. It's called Dump Ranch. It is amazing and it's really easy to make. The recipe is on the side there, but it's a great way to be able to make your own ranch dressing. It's pretty easy. It only takes about 5 minutes to make. And then it's just a healthier alternative overall. Plus, you can really alter the taste to be exactly what you are looking for. Another one is ketchup. Ketchup is easier to make than you would think. We make our own ketchup at our house. This way it doesn't have the added sugar once again, the high fructose corn syrup in it. Plus you don't have to worry about the food dyes being added into it also. The recipe that we use is on the side, but I know this says to simmer it all in a pot. We just throw it all in our Instant Pot and put it on for about 10 minutes. And then we just use the immersion blender, be able to blend it all up, and you can have it to be your own consistency, your own thickness, and it's a great alternative to make, and it's super easy. Especially in my house, we go through lots of ketchup, so because my husband likes to put it on everything, so it's a great way to utilize. We'll even make it in bigger batches, and then we just throw the extra in the freezer, and then we're able to defrost it at any time, especially if we don't have time to make it at that moment. Also, mayonnaise. This is the best and the easiest mayonnaise recipe you will ever find. Mayonnaise a lot of times does have a lot of added preservatives. Also, it typically is not made with the best oils. So you can make your own. You can use avocado oil in it instead. That's what I use. Or you can use a light olive oil. Just don't use extra virgin olive oil. Then it'll give it a funky taste. But I like using avocado oil in it. I buy big jugs of avocado oil from Costco, and then you can easily make your own mayonnaise. And it's just a great way to reduce the overall preservatives that you're adding to your foods. So hopefully that'll give you a few different tips or different ideas of things that you can do to have a healthier holidays and to make your recipes not only during the holiday season, but during any time healthier overall. Make sure to join us next month for our How to Break the Holiday Blues video webinar that we will have. But if you do have any questions on anything that we talked about or want to get signed up for our next webinar, you can give us a call at 616-426-8500 or shoot us an email at info@healthychoicefamilychiropractic.com. Thanks for joining.